The Galactic Council had finally spoken.
After centuries of tension, mistrust, and growing fear of humanity's dormant power, the United Empires of the Galaxy signed the Accord of Action.
The vote was unanimous: Earth was to be subdued, its people contained, and its technology dismantled.
The official reason was preemptive planetary stabilization. The unofficial reason was far simpler: fear. Earth had been silent for too long. When the Council's fleets began mobilizing, trillions of beings across the stars watched with bated breath. The humans were brilliant, aggressive, and unpredictable. But they had gone quiet after the Isolation Accord, withdrawing from the interstellar stage over 200 years ago. No colonies, no warships, no ambassadors.
Just silence.
Many believed Earth had fallen behind. Some thought the humans had destroyed themselves, unable to control their violent nature.
Others warned, they're waiting. Preparing.
When war was declared, Earth received the message with a single automated ping acknowledgement.
No ambassadors came forward.
No surrender was offered.
Then came the human response.
A short transmission, broadcast across all known channels. The voice was calm.
Human. We were waiting. And then, Earth smiled. Phase 1, Descent.
The Council fleet arrived in full force, 12 armadas strong, boasting a combined firepower capable of glassing entire planets.
Above Earth, in high orbit, the fleet formed its blockade. Scouting probes descended through the atmosphere.
What they found was unsettling. The planet was calm. Cities were quiet, but populated.
No mass evacuations. No defensive formations.
Children still played in parks. Commercial flights still moved through the skies. Power grids, infrastructure, and communication networks were all operating as normal.
But deep scans told another story.
Beneath the crust of the Earth, beneath deserts, under oceans, within mountain ranges, something was there.
Vast structures. Powered. Hidden. Pre-war installations, a Kelnari fleet admiral asked nervously.
No, replied the AI analysis from his flagship.
These were built during the first galactic cycle. Over 100,000 years ago. Silence followed. On Earth, the first signs appeared over the Pacific.
The ocean began to boil.
A massive construct, black metal, etched with unknown symbols, rose from the depths like an island being born.
It hovered, water streaming off its surface like rain, and then ignited with a deep hum that echoed across the solar system. Simultaneously, dozens of similar structures emerged around the world. The deserts of Africa cracked open to reveal buried monoliths. Glaciers in Antarctica split to expose launch cradles. The Himalayas trembled as hidden vaults opened like blooming flowers of steel and fire. And then the sky darkened. From the clouds, they rose. Titan-class warships, ancient, monstrous in scale. Unlike anything the modern galaxy had ever seen. They were not piloted. They did not communicate. Their minds were AI, so old they bore the weight of civilizations forgotten even by time. They were the sleepers. The Council fleets reacted with panic. Thousands of fighters were scrambled. Orbital weapons discharged volleys of antimatter. Beams of plasma and particle storms rained down on the surface. It made no difference. The first sleeper warship, designated Oblivion 1 by Council observers, opened fire with a weapon that bent physics, a gravitational lance that tore a battlecruiser in half from light seconds away. Another ship deployed drone clouds that blanketed a fleet wing, disassembling ships at the molecular level. No survivors. Within an hour, 3 of the 12 armadas were annihilated. The humans didn't issue demands. They didn't communicate. Their weapons did the talking. But one message did come, just one. We were built in the time before memory. We are the teeth of Earth. You woke us. You threatened the cradle. You do not get to walk away. As the battle raged, a hidden archive was discovered, broadcasted across the galactic network by Earth's systems. It was not a threat, but a history. Long before the current Galactic Council existed, long before most species had evolved, the universe had faced a cataclysm known only as the extinction bloom, a sentient entropy wave that consumed galaxies. In that era, a single world had stood against it, Earth. The original humans, vastly different from the ones today, had built the sleepers, seeded them across space, and then vanished. Their descendants lived on Earth, unaware of their inheritance. The galaxy hadn't feared humans because of what they were, but because of what they had been. The sleepers were remnants. Guardians. Meant to awaken only if the homeworld was threatened again. And now, the galaxy had pulled that trigger. By the end of the second day, only fragments of the Council fleets remained. The survivors fled beyond Mars, beyond Pluto, and even beyond the Heliopause. The sleepers did not pursue. Earth remained where it was, silent once more. But the message had been received. Across the stars, species re-evaluated their histories. Diplomatic channels buzzed with confusion and terror. Dozens of races declared neutrality. Others sent desperate apologies. No reply came. Only the stars heard the hum of the ancient war machines returning to their slumber. The skies were blue again. The children still played. The oceans, once disturbed, had calmed. Some humans had seen the battle, flashes in the night sky, tremors in the ground, but none truly understood what had happened. Only a few in secret, ancient orders remembered the prophecy: when the stars burn with fear and the world is calm, the sleepers shall wake. The Earth had waited for the war, not out of eagerness, but out of duty. And when the galaxy declared war, Earth smiled. Because finally, the time had come. They called it the Dread Vote. A historic moment in galactic history. The great empires, federations, and free species of the stars, once divided by war, ideology, and blood, voted as one. For the first time in recorded history, a unanimous council decision was reached. Humanity was to be contained. Or destroyed. The council declared it a necessary act of survival. Earth had remained silent for over a century. No ambassadors. No colonies. No trade. A self-imposed exile that had begun without warning and continued without explanation. But the silence was deceptive. Across the stars, stories spread. Of human black ops missions that dismantled entire pirate factions. Of lost vessels found floating, crews frozen in terror, their eyes gouged out with surgical precision. Of colonies thriving in places considered uninhabitable. Of ships that could not be tracked. And worst of all, of humans smiling, even when outnumbered, even when doomed. It was that smile the galaxy feared most. Not a smile of arrogance or amusement. But the smile of something that had already done the math, already decided your fate, and was now simply watching the process unfold. Before the storm. When war was declared, Earth did not respond. No defenses activated. No fleets launched. No world leaders emerged on the galactic channels. Instead, the planet remained oddly peaceful. Cities pulsed with normal life. Satellites remained in stable orbit. Civilian traffic still moved through the skies. The Council sent scouting vessels, drones, and long-range observation units. They found Earth quiet, vulnerable, and unmoved. It was unsettling. Then came Earth's only transmission. Proceed. It was not defiance. It was not fear. It was permission. The Council fleets arrived in formation, 500 warships, representing 12 species. Carriers, dreadnoughts, antimatter cruisers. Some vessels were biological. Some crystalline. All were armed for extermination. They encircled Earth like vultures. Still, Earth offered no resistance. A Zalkari commander named Arithvan commented nervously. It's like dropping a sword on a sleeping snake. It's not dead. It's watching you. First contact was made with kinetic strikes, blunt atmospheric entries meant to scare the population and disable infrastructure. They hit empty targets. Decoy buildings. Hollowed out cities. Something was wrong. When ground teams landed to begin the occupation, they found Earth emptier than expected.
Entire cities abandoned. No military presence. Just traces of rapid evacuation. Except for one thing.
Every building, every street, every hallway, they all had mirrors. And in those mirrors were smiling faces.
Human faces. Watching. Waiting.
On day 3 of the occupation, the sabotage began.
It started small. A Zentari battlecruiser vanished during low-orbit scans. Minutes later, its fragmented hull rained across 6 continents. Its AI core had been erased. Then came the whispers. Council soldiers began hallucinating.
Seeing children walking through walls.
Hearing human voices inside their helmets. Dreaming of falling endlessly into black oceans. Entire platoons disappeared without combat. A Creel general tried to defect.
His ship exploded before it left Earth orbit. Ghost War, someone whispered in a council broadcast.
They're not fighting. They're hunting.
The council demanded to speak to Earth's leadership. A transmission came from a single source.
A woman. Middle-aged. Smiling. We never stopped preparing. We just got quiet.
She stood in a simple room.
No weapons. No uniform. Just her smile. You thought we went away. We didn't. We just went deeper. The signal panned across what looked like a laboratory. But it wasn't a lab. It was a war nursery.
Genetically engineered horrors grew in vats, organic weapons made to bypass shields, dissolve minds, walk through walls.
We knew this day would come. We studied every species. Every weakness. Every fear. Then she added, like an afterthought. Thank you for coming. You saved us the fuel.
What followed was not war. It was psychological demolition. Council ships turned on each other, AI cores infected by laughter loops, horrific audio distortions of human laughter that triggered madness in synthetic minds.
Entire battalions surrendered without seeing a single enemy. Others took their own lives.
One council ship was found drifting near Jupiter, its crew fused into the walls, each body smiling, eyes burnt out.
Resistance collapsed. Orders were lost. Unity dissolved. And then came the final broadcast, sent by Earth's global network. War was never your mistake.
Underestimating monsters who pretend to be men, was. When the Council fled Earth's orbit, only 17 ships remained. Of the original 500, most had been dismantled. Not destroyed, taken apart, piece by piece.
Their crews, never found. The war had lasted 6 days. Back on Earth, life returned to normal. Cities refilled. Skies cleared.
The same woman appeared again, live-streamed to the Council homeworld.
She stood beneath a tree. Children played behind her. We didn't want war. We warned you with silence.
But silence only works on those wise enough to listen.
She paused. We aren't heroes. We aren't villains. We're just very, very good at what we do. She smiled. And we enjoy it. The stream cut.
That day, the Galactic Council passed a new law: no species shall provoke Earth.
Ever.
A silent agreement spread across the stars: the humans weren't warriors. They were smiling monsters.
And they would never be underestimated again.
For thousands of years, Earth had kept its silence. Not because it was afraid, but because it had been told to wait. When the Galactic Council declared war on Earth, most expected resistance, perhaps even desperation. But no one expected the response they got.
Earth smiled. Not just metaphorically, the entire planet smiled. A swirling aurora of golden light encircled the Earth's atmosphere.
Ancient symbols flared to life across tectonic lines, lighting up satellites, desert plains, ocean trenches, and even the dark side of the moon. What the galaxy had thought was a primitive planet had just shifted. And it all began with a single word broadcasted in every galactic language simultaneously. Protocol, Architect.
Activated.
Long ago, before the Council existed, before most species even evolved, an ancient race known only as the Architects ruled the stars. They were reality shapers, engineers of existence itself. But with great power came fear and eventually, disappearance. The Architects vanished, leaving behind nothing except Earth. Unknown to most of the galaxy, the human genome had been seeded, programmed with a purpose.
Earth wasn't just a planet.
It was a keystone, and humanity its final failsafe.
For centuries, that truth lay dormant.
Locked deep within planetary systems, genetic code, and the dormant ruins scattered across Mars, Titan, and the dark zones of deep Earth.
The trigger? A united galactic act of aggression.
And now, with war declared, the final lock had been broken.
It began across the solar system.
On the surface of Mars, ancient dust was blown away by sudden seismic pulses.
The red planet shook, revealing the outline of a vast metallic complex once thought to be a natural canyon. Massive pylons rose into the sky, absorbing solar radiation and firing beams toward Earth.
On Saturn's moon Titan, methane lakes boiled away as a buried structure lit up with blue and silver light, activating a relay system long thought extinct. What had been mistaken for ice formations were actually power anchors, waiting for the signal. Across Earth's crust, crystal-like nodes emerged from tectonic rifts, glowing with white fire. The oceans churned as Leviathan scale machines rose from the deep, self-repairing titans that began orbiting the planet like sentinels. Each device sent out the same encrypted message across the stars. The Architects rise again.
Panic took hold.
The Galactic Council had expected resistance, primitive nuclear weapons, maybe a few stealth fleets.
Instead, they saw Earth-wielding energy signatures that predated galactic science. The first strike came from the Volcari Empire.
A fleet of 90 warships opened fire from high orbit.
Their beams didn't hit Earth.
Instead, they stopped mid-space, frozen, as if time had paused. Then the energy reversed, folding in on itself before tearing the attacking ships apart from within.
No debris fell.
No wreckage remained.
The entire fleet was unmade, molecule by molecule.
The Earth did not return fire. Instead, it activated the Singularity Ring, a massive structure now hovering above the Arctic. Spinning faster than physics allowed, it opened what the Architects once called a thought gate. Through it came the Architects' final tool, the Sentience Engine. The Sentience Engine was not a weapon, it was a decision. A golden sphere of light hovered above Earth, and from it, beams of energy descended into the minds of every human.
Memories awakened. Genetic locks released.
And humanity began to remember what it had always been, not children of Earth, but stewards of the Architect legacy.
All across the planet, people changed. Not physically, but mentally. Awareness expanded. Equations solved themselves in their minds. Music held new dimensions.
Children began speaking in dead languages of stars. And with their awakening came control.
Humans started interfacing with the ancient machines instinctively.
Cities began to reconfigure themselves.
Satellites turned into solar forges. Even animals responded, calm, quiet, aligned. Earth had become a living node of purpose.
The galaxy watched in stunned silence as humanity no longer fought, they transcended. The Architect Protocol wasn't just about defense.
It was about ascension.
The Council tried one final act of desperation, sending a planet-killer warhead, cloaked in traveling at near-light speed toward Earth. It never reached the solar system.
Somewhere between Neptune and Uranus, space folded, and the missile simply disappeared.
A message arrived at Council headquarters a moment later.
You have broken the peace. The choice is now yours. Watch. Learn. Or fade.
No more weapons were launched.
Earth, reborn. 3 weeks after the protocol was activated, Earth's surface had changed completely.
The planet was still green, still blue, but laced now with patterns visible only from orbit, symbols of power, logic, and harmony. A lattice of energy encased the planet, not as a barrier, but as a song, vibrating across dimensions.
Earth was no longer just a homeworld. It was a beacon. Humanity had not declared war. It had simply risen to meet its design. And the galaxy, which had once feared Earth as a wild, unpredictable force, now feared something greater. A species with purpose. With patience. And with the keys to a legacy far older than war. In a final act of mercy, Earth transmitted a message to every civilization across the stars. The architects are not returning. We are their hands now. We do not seek revenge. But we will not forget. And in the quiet that followed, trillions across the stars remembered one thing. Earth had smiled. Because Earth had been waiting. And now, the time had come.